My name is Don Haag, and I am a fourth-generation Schnitzelburger. My great-grandparents settled on Gauss Avenue in 1887 with their 5 children. Their old home still stands. I was born when my family lived on Ash Street, and I was raised on Lydia Street. I lead history walks in Schnitzelburg and give historical presentations about this old German neighborhood. Any discussions about Schnitzelburg history would include the many taverns in this German community over the years and those which still exist today. It has been said there is a tavern on every corner in Schnitzelburg. Well, that is not true, but there are a large number of taverns and cafes which have served residents of Schnitzelburg for decades. The taverns were not just places to drink beer, but also to socialize. The taverns were relaxing places where friendships were strengthened and solidarity with residents of the neighborhood was nurtured. The taverns were a focal point of community spirit and togetherness. I am often asked why there are so many taverns in Schnitzelburg. Well, here is my story. Most of the old Schnitzelburgers had their favorite drinking hole. My family usually went to Flabby's. I think about a guy named Gustav who lived near Gauss Avenue, and his tavern of choice was Czech's. Most afternoons or evenings, he would walk over to Gauss and down Hickory for 5 blocks to Czech's. After several brews and much discussion about the events of the day, he would head for home. However, by the time he reached Lydia Street, and especially in hot weather, he would work up a powerful thirst and would have to stop in at Flabby's or Old Hickory Inn. There he would revive himself and once again start for home. By the time he reached Ash Street, he was thirsty again, but fortunately, there was Hilschmann's Tavern on the corner, and he could once again relieve his dry throat. With his energy renewed, he would again start for home. But by the time he reached Gauss Avenue, he was spitting cotton again. So he would make an emergency stop at Taverns, and after a few brews there, he was able to reach his house. Therefore, I believe the taverns were medical necessities. They prevented the old Germans from getting dehydrated. And that, my friends, is why so many taverns were welcome in Schnitzelburg. Growing up in Schnitzelburg, it was not unusual to see a family member or neighbor walking past our house, headed for the corner tavern after supper. Those were the days when most folks walked to their destinations. Today, many patrons of the taverns come from all over Louisville. Czech's Cafe has been located on the corner of Burnett and Hickory since the early 1940s. Prior to that, an A&P grocery occupied the building. When you visit Czech's Cafe, you never know who you might see. People from around the city patronize Czech's, and it is not unusual to have a notable person sitting near you. Several months ago, former U of L basketball coach Denny Crum was sitting at the table next to us. That is how it has always been at Czech's. In September of 1977, the brother of President Jimmy Carter visited Czech's. His name was Billy Carter, and he was promoting a beer being introduced by the local Falls City Brewery. It was named Billy Beer. I have a photo of Billy Carter at Czech's with a group of customers, and my father-in-law is in the photo. I have always believed part of Czech's popularity is their unique method of serving customers. You place and pay for your order at the end of the bar, provide your name, and soon after the waitress comes from the kitchen shouting your name and delivers the food to your table. Of course, you can usually count on seeing other family members or friends. My wife and I eat at Check's about 3 times a week. 2 blocks up Hickory Street was another popular tavern named Flabby's, now a cafe named Lydia House. It was owned by Jim Flabby Devine. He and his wife Veronica lived on the 2nd floor of the building. They were well known for their fried chicken. Flabby had a dumbwaiter behind the bar where the food was sent down from upstairs after preparation by his wife. I have fond memories of going to Flabby's with my father when I was a young boy. I always enjoyed sitting near a table of older guys and listening to their discussions. I thought they were so very smart. They could discuss any subject: politics, the latest news, foreign affairs, sports, and even the economy. I also discovered that the longer they sat there and the more beer they drank, the smarter they got. Flabby's was also one of the taverns where a father or a grandfather would send one of the kids in the family with a pail to fetch them some beer. The container with a lid was called a growler, and the kid was instructed to hurry home. This was referred to as rushing the growler. When I was a kid, my father and I would sit at the kitchen table, the pail of beer nearby, and listen to big band music. My grandfather, Gus Fowl, was a character and well known around Schnitzelburg. Flabby once brought in a deer after a hunting trip and hung it on the side porch of the business. Grandpa climbed up on the porch coping and posed for a picture with the deer. I have the photo, and the expression on Grandpa's face is priceless. Another well-known tavern which served Schnitzelburg for decades was Taverns Tavern, located on Gulf Avenue at Spratt. John Taphorn came to America in 1874 and operated first a grocery store in 1893 and then a saloon from 1909 till the late 1950s. Taphorn was noted for its long bar. Several other taverns have occupied the Taphorn site over the years, and currently the Four Pegs is there. In my younger days, from Burnett Street up Hickory Street to Gulf, there were 5 taverns: Check's, Flabby's, Old Hickory, Hillsman's, and Taphorn's. The taverns were popular family gathering places after neighborhood events, such as football games at Manual Stadium. Even today, some patrons have their preferred seat at a table or at the bar, and they can always be seen located there. A few long-time patrons have been honored with a nameplate placed at the table or spot at the bar where they sat for many years. The taverns were an important part of a Schnitzelburger's life. You could say they viewed society as seen through a beer glass.